sounds of Temple Bar in Dublin to performing at top Irish music festivals in the U.S. He moved to Detroit with his wife in 2019, and since then, this talented musician from Tala. So close. Who is an IMRO Christy Hennessy songwriting competition winner, has been able to reinvent himself by turning his hand to folk music and creating fresh arrangements of Irish classics. So, this afternoon, please silence your cell phones, or at least keep them on vibrate just in case you need to answer an emergency. We are recording this through Orion Neighborhood Television, ONTV. It will be on their website or on their YouTube in about a week if you want to see it. And let the wonderful songs of Ireland take you across the Atlantic through the voice of Irish singer and songwriter Enda Reilly.
As we say in Ireland, thanks a million, James. Thank you very much. It's great to be here, and thank you all for coming out on such a lovely wintry day in spring. Yeah, well, I heard the term "fool's spring" for the first time the other day, and I was like, I was the fool. So, but it looks lovely out there with all the trees dusted and everything. So yes, I'm Enda from Tallaght in Dublin, and the name Enda. In fact, it was the Saint Enda's feast day just a day or two ago. So Saint Enda was, which I believe is where the name comes from, Éine, and the word Éine is the word for a bird, although I can't fly, only in my dreams. Yeah, so Saint Enda was on the Aran Islands, which are a group of 3 islands off the coast of Ireland, and so that's where the name comes from. Not a usual name here. Usually when I send an email, it comes back, "Thank you, Edna." So that's what we do. We live with what we have. Now, what's going on? Getting on a guitar. Oh yeah. It has to be right on the tape down here. Okay, it is now. So I'm going to start off with a lovely song by the wonderful Percy French, who wrote many fun and wonderful Irish songs. And this one was about his stable master who moved all the way across the sea to Scotland. And so he wrote a song to try and woo him back, because he must have been very good at his job. So, and his name, it's the same name as myself, he was a Reilly. And the Reillys came from around the Cavan area. So this is Come Back, Paddy Reilly, to Bally James Duff. The Garden of Eden has vanished, they say, and I know the lie of it still. Just turn to the left at the bridge of Finn, stop when halfway to Coot Hill. 'Cause there I will find it, I know sure enough. The fortune has come to my car, for the grass it grows green around Paddy James Duff, and the blue sky is over it all. In tones that are tender, tones that are gruff, whispering over the sea. Come back, Paddy Reilly, to Paddy James Duff. Come home, Paddy Reilly, to me. Me mother once told me that when I was born, the day that I first saw the light, I looked down the street on the very first morning, and I gave a great crow of delight. And most newborn babies appear with a huff, or they start with a sorrowful squawk. But I knew I was born in Paddy James Duff, that's why I stood and long. The baby's a man now, he's toil worn and tough, still whispers, come over the sea. Come back, Paddy Reilly, to Paddy James Love. Home, Paddy Reilly to me. So, in Dublin, I lived in Dublin City for a while until myself and my wife, who's American, she's from Battle Creek, and so, yeah, she's the home of cornflakes. We used to think of cornflakes, Kellogg's did such a good job with marketing that I always thought they were Irish. It was like, because you'd be reading, the box would be on the table in the morning, and it would be the Irish sports. We have our own games, Gaelic football and hurling, and you'd be collecting the tokens to get the balls with the... Actually, that's what you should be on the lookout if you're in Ireland, for some Kellogg Irish games. Because we've got our Gaelic football and hurling is not what it sounds like. It's a very skillful game, in fact, with a stick and a ball, and it's the fastest game on a field of play. Not as fast as ice hockey, obviously, but it's a wonderful game. So we're going to play this one. I lived in Dublin City, and this was after a night out, or night playing in Dublin. I went for a walk around this lovely area called Grand Canal. And so there's two canals in Dublin. The Liffey goes through Dublin, and right through the centre. East to west, and then we have kind of the Grand Canal goes like this, and the Royal Canal is kind of on the north side. So it's a wonderful place to walk. There was a poet there, Patrick Kavanagh, and he wrote loads of wonderful poetry. One of his poems was called Canal Bank Walk, and so I was inspired, and I called this Canal Bank Hangover. Take a walk along the shady leafy banks. Sing the song when you're blue, let the sun shine through. Say hello to Paddy, he's sitting on the bench where the lovers kiss on the canal gates. Round-a-lum-a-doodle-lum, a skiddery-ay-loo-ay. Round-a-lum-a-doodle-lum, a skiddery-ay-loo. Now the bikes go by in tens and 30 trees with the lights. The green man's flash dancing will hold your own as you cross through the bike lane, where the boatman is cleaning out the dirty bits. And round-a-lum-a-doodle-lum, a skiddery-ay-loo-ay. Round-a-lum-a-doodle-lum, a skiddery-ay-loo. But quick you step along, graffiti boardwalk, on and on under the weeping willows, and see the office folk with their lunches in the sun. And I've not yet had my breakfast. Round-a-lum-a-doodle-lum, a skiddery-ay-loo-ay. Round-a-lum-a-doodle-lum, a skiddery-ay-loo. Now me tongue goes wrong, me head still dumb. Time to turn at the empty Garda station, then head for home past Luther's lovely little church, passing the poor one-eyed people. Round-a-lum-a-doodle-lum, a skiddery-ay-loo-ay. Round-a-lum-a-doodle-lum, a skiddery-ay-loo. Round-a-lum-a-doodle-lum, a skiddery-ay-loo. In Ireland we have our own language as well, and it's called the Irish language, or Gaeilge in Irish, and sometimes it's called Gaelic. You might hear people call it Gaelic, and so although usually we just call it Irish in Ireland, Gaelic would mean the football game, and so Gaelic football. And so, so a couple of years back, I've been writing songs in the Irish language because I was lucky enough to go to a school in the late 70s, early 80s. There was a lot of rejuvenation of the language in the East because the language is still spoken out west in small areas called the Gaeltacht, kind of like Gaeltacht. And but in the East, because a lot of families came to Dublin to work. It's such a big city in Ireland. So it was great that I had the opportunity to learn the Irish language. And then I was talking with a DJ at one point, and he was like, "Well, have you any songs in the Irish language?" And I was like, I didn't realise it was a thing that anyone could even do, you know, because it's kind of kept on a pedestal, or can be, you know, and so the idea of having fun with it, you know, because you're learning it in school, and sometimes that makes it a bit of a dry thing. Is kind of strange. So I ended up writing a lot of songs in it. So I'd like to sing you a song that I've written in the Irish language. Which one do I do? This one is called An Nosk Nua, The New Connection. So a nosk, I learned in school, is a connection or a bond. And so when I was doing chemistry in Irish, nosk Enoch is an ionic bond. And so that was the idea, was that we're forming bonds amongst each other. Every time you meet somebody new, there's these ideas that go between people, and in a sense there's kind of a limitlessness to that, and these ideas can even go through generations, and in a sense that's what you're doing when you're writing a song. You're sharing something with people, and if you're lucky that somebody might sing it again, isn't it wonderful, and it goes down the generations. So that's the bit that says, oh gloom, gloom, from generation to generation later on. So it's An Nosk Nua.
Now be of in the earth, montado riahort, e glusa no sula, on the stage no cara. Eis leishanas, the former nights, Eis leishanas, Ich sta de Glas in Nacht, ab mir de Krische Kur, es sollte weiß und Lucht, es sagt de Tabu. Ich weiß ja nicht, bevor man weiß, ich weiß ja nicht, bevor man weiß,
For me among you. Thanks a million. So yeah, we've a number of younger people in the house today. Hello, how are you doing? Thanks for coming in. A lot of times it's older folks that I'm singing to, so it actually makes me think maybe I'd sing a slightly different song for you guys and tell you about some Irish mythology. There was, I hope you eat your fish. Fish is very good for you, and the Irish knew that fish was very good for you years ago. Omega-3s and all this kind of thing. So there's kind of there's a thing called the Salmon of knowledge, okay? And the salmon was his name was Fintan, and he was swimming in the River Boyne. So you've heard of there's a place called the Boyne here, isn't there? Boyne Valley or Boyne? What's it called? Boyne County. Boyne, yeah. And so I have yet to go, but I've heard it's there. And I think they recently twinned it with another town by the Boyne River in Ireland called Trim. A friend of mine just spotted that maybe 2 years ago. That happened. But anyway, there's lots of stories, and so there was a young fella, and his name was Finn McCool, or in the Irish it's Fionn, and Fionn means you've got fair hair, a bit like your hair. It's quite fair. So fair-haired. So that's what it means, Fionn. So Fionn went to live with Finnegas, and Finnegas was the wisest man in all of Ireland. And Fionn kept asking him all these questions, and like kids do, I used to ask, drive my uncle nuts asking questions all the time, but that's what Google's for now. Anyway, Finnegas kind of was getting browned off, as they'd say, and he said, well, I don't know all the answers to all these questions, so I better go and catch the salmon of knowledge, because the salmon of knowledge has been eating these hazelnuts that have fallen from they're the nuts of knowledge from a really old oak tree, because Ireland is full of oaks, so therefore the salmon had all the information, and the salmon was still around from the Great Flood, and so that's the story. And then how the story goes is that he caught the salmon, Finnegas did, and he was like, I got the salmon, yes, and he said, Fionn, come here and cook this, but whatever you do, don't eat it, okay? And so Fionn had it on the spit, and he was turning it around, and then a big blister was coming on the salmon's skin. And what do you think he did? Put his thumb out to burst the blister. Ow! Thumb went in the mouth, and then he had all the knowledge of the world. So anytime he wanted to think about something and have that knowledge, he was able to put his thumb in his mouth, and then he would know everything. So that's the story of Fionn McCool. But I wrote a little song about it, and let's see if I can remember most of the words for you. So, so it goes like this. Fionn, sucking on his thumb, knows everything about the world and everyone. Fionn, sucking on his thumb that he burnt on the salmon of knowledge. Ow. Fionn was sent to learn as he went from the wisest man in Erin. He cooked and he cleaned, memorized what he could glean about poetry, science and fishing. And Fionn, he's sucking on his thumb, he knows everything about the world and everyone. Fionn, sucking on his thumb that he burnt on the salmon of knowledge. Now Finnegas, although the wisest, couldn't answer all of Fionn's questions. So he put a hazelnut on his outlined hook and flung it from the highest branches. The salmon's name was Fintan, they say, the only survivor of the great flood, and for 5,000 years he lived right here among the River Boyne's runs and riffles. And Fionn, he's sucking on his thumb, knows everything about the world and everyone. Fionn, sucking on his thumb that he burnt on the salmon of knowledge. Now, the salmon's name was Fintan. No, I said that one, didn't I? Yes. Fintan knew as he swam, his final way began in the rocks by the pool's end. So Fionn cooked the salmon on the spit as his master insisted, and not a bite had he, though it looked tasty, till the salmon's skin
was blistered. And Fionn, Fionn, he's sucking on his tongue. He knows everything about the world and everyone. Fionn, Fionn, sucking on his tongue that he burnt on the salmon of knowledge. And if I had to guess, I'd say the Master Finnegan's felt right hard done by. For he was the fool who caught the salmon from the pool. But you can't deny a mythological hero. A mythological hero. Fionn, Fionn, sucking on his thumb, knows everything about the world and everyone. Fionn, Fionn, there can be only one to have eaten the salmon of knowledge. There's loads more stories about Fionn McCool, you should look them up. There could be a book in the library with more stories about Fionn McCool. I'm sure there is. So we had, I had my first proper experience of an American St. Patrick's Day this year. I was asked, oh yeah, will you go and play a few songs at 9 a.m. in the morning in the pub? Okay. And I thought there'd be nobody there, we'd be setting up. We came in, the place was like it was 9 at night, I couldn't believe it. So, America knows how to celebrate. So this is one for you all about Dublin. You might, more along the lines of what you might have been expecting to hear today. So if you want to join in, it goes, alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, crying cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh. Do you want to sing that with me? Here we go. Whoa. Hang on. Here we go. Alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, crying cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh. Wonderful, I love it. In Dublin's fair city, where the girls are so pretty, I first set my eyes on sweet Molly Malone. She wheeled a wheelbarrow through the streets broad and narrow, crying cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, crying cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh. Well, she was a fishmonger, sure 'twas no wonder, so was her father and mother before. And they both with their barrows through the streets broad and narrow, crying cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, crying cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh. On your own. Died out of favour, no one could save her. That was the end of sweet Molly Malone. There were ghost wheels or barrow through the streets broad and narrow, crying cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh. Let's do it. Alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, crying cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh. You've probably been looking at this. It's not the moon, although I was watching some series and they robbed the moon for a while, but it does look a bit like the moon. This is a humidity meter. When it gets dry, it gets really high, and when it gets high in pitch, and when it gets wet. And in Ireland, it just stays one all the time, pretty much, because it's always wet. Seriously. Here, in the middle of winter, it's crazy. I just can't believe how dry it gets. It's a whole revelation for me when I moved over here. Anyway, this is called a Bodhran, or Bodhran, some people call it as well. Depending on where you're from in the country in Ireland, you'd say it a bit differently. So, so the word boar, or bower, as I would say it,
Bower means deaf, okay? And so this is a deafener, about wrong. And so it comes with a warning label on it, so you know, that's it. So, usually it's played, sometimes it's played with the back of the hand, like this. I think that was probably the first way it was done. Oh, we need a new number here. Can you hear that a bit better now? Hopefully. And then people were using the bhakti, or that's messy, but that's the way it's done. And then there's people nowadays, like Ronan O'Snuddick. Is anyone going to go to the Michigan Irish Music Festival? It's up in Muskegon. Does anyone think they might come up for that? If you do, yeah, we have a few people. When is it? It's in September, I think. Yeah, and it's really good every year. I've been there for the last few years, and there's a band from Ireland coming. And if you want to see like the best player at the Bodhran in the world, it's Ronan O'Snuddick, and he's in this band called Keela, and they're going to be playing. And Ronan plays with this kind of style. So this kind of thing, he tips with the top like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. I think I'm really good at that, and then yeah, but it'll take you years. Some people. Anyway, I've kind of created my own way of playing it with the hand, so that's kind of what I do. So yeah, what am I going to play for you? This is going to be a song that is in 2 languages. It's got Irish and English, and it'll be on my new album coming out later this year. And this one's called Ulach Olmachri, which means a wait for my heart. And the melody was, I had this melody in my head for so long, and it had been on a TV show, and it was like a flute, and it was like, and it was just beautiful. And I was asking people, what's that melody, where's it come from, or, and nobody knew, until one day I was in London, and it was after a show, a big show that had happened, and Paddy Malone from the Chieftains was there, and he said, I wrote that, and I was like, no way. So I asked him, would it be okay if I used it in a song, and he said, yeah, go for it. So it's, it's got 2 languages, so when I sent him the demo, the word for 2 languages in a song is a Macaronic song, and he said, oh, it's macaroni. So this is my macaroni song. So it's called A Wait for My Heart, and it's about thinking about my home place and going home, and that feeling of going home, and you just kind of feel relaxed in your home area. So this is Ulach Olmachri.
When I'm feeling lost, then let you find me and lead me home to where my soul shines bright. Take me on the night, down the old one way, and around the avenue, to where the crescent trees come into view. The sweets of my youth, look on the green way, into the pond. You want to jump on me back? Look on the freeway, to the So if you lose away, trust in me and see your path will illuminate. Create our own faith, then you look on green. Into the war, you and yours to start to free. You look on green, you look on green. Into the war, you and yours to start to free. You look on green.
So does anyone remember what it's called? What's the drum called? Bodhran, yes. Definitely. Right, what will I do for you now? Some other form of Irish culture or something. Yes, so I have a number of CDs over there if anyone's interested afterwards. You can come and say hello. They're $20 each if you're interested. One of them is a group of poems by one of Ireland's foremost poets, or well-known poets, W.B. Yeats, William Butler Yeats. And Ireland kind of got its freedom from Britain. The Republic of Ireland did, the 26 counties they declared it in 1916, and it took a few years for it all to go into effect. But in 1923, the young country, the young Ireland, we got W.B. Yeats won he won the Nobel Prize for Literature. So that was great. That put Ireland on the map. And this is one of his poems that people sing. So on my album, I have a lot of different. I have a lot of original melodies I put to his poems. But this is one you might be aware of already. Thought I might just do this one. So, Sally. The word Sally is kind of the word for a willow rod. So the Sally garden is the willow garden. Really, is kind of where it is. So this is down by the Sally garden. So. Okay, when I get ready, this one's. And the translation, because it's all in English. His poetry is all in English, but he did take a lot of inspiration from Irish stories, and he actually went and found stories and got them translated and all that kind of thing. But he never learned to speak the Irish language himself. So the translation is by a wonderful poet who's around now called Gabriel Rosenstock, who translates many works from around the world as well to the Irish language. So
Skjønner særlig doing meg en små filgran. Kanskje hangar høren særlig I svak og skink og barn. Og bransjer står bare innan halvdagen. At this way Steve Ween back of Jordan from the cross. 'Twas down by the sunny gardens my love and I did meet, and she passed the sunny gardens with little snow white feet. She bade me take love easy as the leaves go on the tree. come on after rain. In art kushna hawing doing may heinous and grow clay like she lost her golden long on Brooklyn. Rabbi she a story where the longer out there on ground a bit so Stevie back John in a field down by the river, my love did stand, and on my leaning shoulder she placed her snow white hand. She bade me take love easy as the grass grows up on the wind. Ah, but I was young foolish, and now I'm full of tears.
Thanks very much. Thanks to everyone for coming out. It's great. And great to see some people I know, Mary Jo from the down the AOH, you know. And we have Blackberry in the house. There's a band as well. We have Steve Taylor, who's a great singer-songwriter. I got to perform with Steve out in Chelsea recently as well. So thanks everyone for coming in general. This is a song I wrote about the fields in Ahamar in Mayo, where my mother's from and my grandfather. They lived there for years. Actually, I'll do that one next. I'm in the tuning for the song about the rain. So you mentioned the rain there, and in Ireland it's very wet because all the clouds come in off the Atlantic all the time. So the west of Ireland actually is twice as rainy as the east of Ireland. So it just kind of is there. So I was looking in a folklore archive in UCD, University College Dublin, where they've got a lot of interesting documents and things. And in 1935, they sent all the kids home about your age, and they said, ask all the people at home stories about your area. So people wrote, so it would have been your name collecting the story, and somebody else telling the story to the storyteller, and then they had loads of these. And one thing that kept coming up all the time was signs. It was a weather lore, they called it. A lot of this was to do with rain, or whether it would be sunny or rainy. So I collected all the ones about rain and I put them into this song. It's called A Sign of Rain. I think I have it up. It's a new one, so it's going to be on my new album. Okay, hopefully this will work. When the swallow flies low, it's a sign of rain. Goats run to caves, a storm's coming. Sheep go to higher land. The robin is on the lowest branch. The bats have gone insane. Sure, it's a sign of rain. Saw a rainbow to the west this morning. Chimney smoke turned down without a warning. The
kettle began to spark. Cat turned her back to the fire. Water in the well was hot. Birds started to flock. A frog's back was black. A fog rose from the wood, and when the hills seem near, it's a sign of rain. When the seagulls fly inland again, when the wind blows from the south, the spider threads are on the ground. When your aches begin to pain, sure it's a sign of rain, it's a sign of rain. 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 The new moon is lying on its back. The river is looking very black. The crows are cawing overhead. Dust blows up in your face. Now there's a circle around the moon. The crickets, they're singing out of tune. The cock went crowing to his bed. He's sure to rise with a watery head. When the hills seem near, it's a sign of rain. When the seagulls fly inland again, when the wind blows from the south, the spider threads are on the ground. When your aches begin to bang, sure it's a sign of rain. 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 Rocks reflect the sunlight glass, and the dogs are eating the grass. The ducks have started to quack, and the curlew is whistling. And when the hills seem near, it's a sign of rain. When the seagulls fly inland again, when the wind blows from the south, the spider threads are on the ground. When your aches begin to pain, sure it's a sign of rain. 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 It's a sign of rain.
Right, I see we're running low on time. So the other, I'm going to sing a song for you about the wild Atlantic. Seems though it was mentioned as well here as one of the things that sticks out about Ireland. A friend of mine, Eva Scott, came to me a few years ago. She knew I was a songwriter, and she said, "Enda, I need some songs for my album." So we wrote 6 or 7 songs, and 6 of them got on her album, and this one did too. And then she got it to #1 in Ireland for about a week or so on the iTunes charts, and she performed it on the Late Show, which is the Irish version of the Late Show. It's later than you know, it's not. Yeah. So would you like to join in?
Yeah.
Right, great. So the lyrics are, "When will you bring me my love? When will you bring me my love? I'm counting down the days. When will you bring me my love?
When will you bring me my love?
All along
All
the wild Atlantic way."
wild Atlantic way.
Lovely. So this is how it goes. We'll try it out. When will you bring me my love? I'm counting down the days. When will you bring me my love?
love all along the wild Atlantic way. Will you try it? When will you bring me my love? Counting down the days. When will you bring me my love? All along the wild Atlantic way. 60 years in Nova Scotia, waiting for the day. The day we'll be turning homeward, all along the wild Atlantic way. Here we go. So when will you bring me my love? Counting down the days. Yes, when will you bring me my love? All along the wild Atlantic way. Remember the day we spent in Winnipeg, shipwrecked in the bay. We sat and watched the northwest sunset all along the wild Atlantic way. Or the time that we climbed up Crow Patrick, we nearly went astray. All me legs were aching, falling off me all along the wild Atlantic way. Here we go. So when will you bring me my love? Counting down the days. When will you bring me my love? All along the wild Atlantic way. The night that we went skiing dipping down in Derry, we were smelling Galway salted ocean all along the wild Atlantic way. Or the day that we met Willie Clancy piping in Mount Bay, sure we sang and danced till the early morning all along the wild Atlantic way. And when will you bring me my love? Counting down the days. When will you bring me my love? All along the wild Atlantic way. You catch the fishing dingles, currents roll away. Wait for you with the half-light glowing all along the wild Atlantic way. Cycling back from the black ball skin, salty from the spring, and the ocean looming out beyond us all along the wild Atlantic way. Go, so when will you bring me my love? Counting down the days. When will you bring me my love? All along the wild Atlantic way. One more. When will you bring me my love? I'm counting down the days. When will you bring me my love? All along the wild Atlantic way. Any other questions or anything about Ireland or about music in Ireland or anything like that? Yes?
Is peat moss or peat?
Yeah.
How did that come to be such a great form of heat? Is it?
It's not a great form of heat at all, in fact, but it's all we have in Ireland. So, yeah. So Ireland has, if you think of the landscape, what do you think of in the landscape? Grass. You don't think of trees. That's what's amazing about Michigan. You have so many trees and you have all the biodiversity and wildlife that comes with that, which can be annoying for people sometimes, but it's amazing, you know. In Ireland we don't have so, it's just hedgerows are our main, like there's really, I think they're doing a bit better with planting more native trees in Ireland now than they were. So after the last ice age, there were lots of little lakes, and then in those areas there was the particular type of moss that would grow, sphagnum moss, kind of a green type moss. And so that kept growing, but then it would fall to the bottom of the lake, and the lake's pretty much got the organic material went to the top of the lake. So it's pretty much like a lake. It's so wet, but it's anaerobic, so there's no oxygen. So it preserves it, as it were. And then eventually, in fact, the peat comes across the top, so it actually starts to blanket. In some places it's called a blanket bog as well. So it's since the last ice age that all that happened. And then what happens is, because it's full of organic material, if you cut it, sometimes they drain the bogs and they cut the turf. They call it turf then, and so they've got a special type of spade. And they use machines now though as well. And then you dry it, and you have to come back and foot the turf, which means pick it up and put it in little stacks. And then in May or thereabouts, May, June, where we start getting actually good weather for a while, hopefully it will dry. And then you get it back home, stack it up, and then that's your field for the winter. That's historically how things were done. I mean, there's coal now from Poland, from everywhere, you know what I mean, but and gas and everything like that as well. But that's historically what we used in Ireland. Now, up until only a few years ago, that was actually our main way of making electricity, was burning the peat, which is not an efficient way, and again, with all emissions, we're trying to stop having too many emissions as well. That's the only problem with that is it's a global world, so then you go, right, we're not going to burn that, what are we going to burn? We have to buy something from somewhere else. At one point, what was happening, your forests down in kind of South Carolina and places like that were being cut down and sent to Ireland to be coal-fired with that. That's stopped now, thankfully, but I think it's mainly gas they're using at the moment. So their wind turbines are becoming a big thing there as well, things like that. So it's but peat is a big part of Irish kind of culture. I have been in a bog, cutting the turf, or footing the turf at least, not cutting it, but helping out. Probably getting in the way of my uncles and things like that. Yeah, any other questions? Thanks. Yeah, you're very welcome. Yeah. And down in the countryside, still people will be burning it. You're allowed still to burn it, I think, for personal use, just not on a large scale. So thanks to James for having me, and let's give a round of applause to our Orion Township. I've got some CDs and I've got some hoodies for sale there as well, that with my logo that I kind of screen print myself. So if you're interested, come over and say hello afterwards. We'll finish off with we'll do one on the Bodhran for you to finish off with. Did you all have a good St. Patrick's Day? You have two St. Patrick's Days here. There's the parade day, and then there's the actual. It's like double it up. Great idea. So thanks to everyone again. This is one about a man coming from the west of Ireland, and he's on his way to England, but he ends up coming back to Ireland again when he gets in a fight in England, up to the rocky road to Dublin. So here we go. Well, in the merry month of June, when first from home we started, left the girls a tune, so sad and broken-hearted, saluted father dear, kissed me darling mother, drank a pint of beer, me grief and tears to smother, then off to reap the corn, leave where I was born, cut the stout black thorn to banish ghosts and goblins, brand new pair of brogues, wrapped in hard of bogs, frightening all the dogs on the rocky road to Dublin. 1, 2, 3, 4, boy, want the hair burner down the rocky road, not the ways to Dublin, and Dublin, no one the guard at night there is to do. So here we started, boy, they make me spirits bright and there we took the drop of the pure to keep me heart from sinking. That's the Paddy's cure. Whenever he's on the lip to see the lassie smile, laughing all the while. Happy curious style would set your heart to bubble, and as the boy was tired, wages I required, the line was almost tired of the rocky road to Dublin. 1, 2, 3, 4, boy, up there, turn her down the rocky road, and up the ways to Dublin, up the rocky road.
In Dublin next the ride, I thought it's such a pity to be so soon deprived of view of that fine city. Well then I took a stroll, all among the quality we bundled in the stole, all in the neat locality. Something crossed my mind when I looked behind a bundle. Could I find a concrete stick, a wobbling pipe before the road? Said me Connacht road wasn't much in vogue on the rocky road to Dublin. Oh boy, up there, turn down the rocky road, and up the ways to Dublin. From there I got to where spirits never bailed on the Dublin Quay. As the ship was sailing, Captain at me roared, said no room had he. When I took the board, a cabin found for Paddy. Down among the pigs, played some bully jigs, dancing hearty with the water round me Dublin. When a volley head, wished myself were dead, I put her far instead. On the rocky road to Dublin, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Up there, turn her down the rocky road, all the ways to Dublin. Boys of Liverpool, when they say we landed, called myself a fool. I could not understand it, blood began to boil. Temper I was losing, poor out there inside. They began abusing her happy soul, says I was shrilling. I let rise and go, big boys are boy. So I was a hobbit and put the louder way, joining me afraid, quickly cleared the way for the rocky road to Dublin. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Up the hair and turned her down the rocky road, all the way to Dublin. Mark the lovely bra. Up the hair and turned her down the rocky road, all the way to Dublin. Mark the lovely bra.